So today, we're going to step into the world of Materia Medica, which is basically an encyclopedia of medicinal substances. And we're here to uncover a story. But this is not just any old story. It's a portrait of suffering, one that's built to be so vivid, so specific, that it becomes a key to unlocking a very strange tale about a spine that feels like it's been splintered.
We're going to start right here with this incredibly bizarre and frankly compelling statement. I mean, can you imagine hearing this from someone? It's completely disorienting, isn't it? It tells you right away that we're dealing with a kind of pain that's deep and deceptive. This is our way into a very, very particular state of being.
All right, so let's meet the man behind that quote. We're going to call him Arthur. And Arthur, well, he's a man who is defined by a feeling of fullness. He's what you'd call plethoric, which is just a fancy way of saying his body feels totally congested, almost like his head, his heart, and his liver are just brimming with way too much blood. He's a chilly person, and he absolutely dreads the winter because that's when all his miseries really kick into high gear.
For Arthur, daily life is a struggle, and it starts the second he tries to stand up. As he gets to his feet, this wave of giddiness just hits him, and it comes with a sharp, shooting headache right at the base of his brain. It's that same sensation again, just too full. But honestly, that's just the opening act for his real torment.
And this quote? Wow, this really captures the core betrayal that Arthur feels from his own body. This is the voice of his lying sacrum and hips. He's got this profound stiffness in his lower back, but the absolute defining feature is that sensation of it completely giving out when he walks. You can imagine, the simple act of getting up from a chair becomes this monumental effort.
So, we've got this debilitating back pain. But it turns out, the back isn't really the source of the problem, it's actually a symptom of something way deeper, something Arthur considers his greatest secret. And this is where the story gets incredibly specific. And there it is. The secret isn't in his spine at all, but in his rectum. He describes this raw, dry, hot pain, and this fantastically vivid sensation of it being filled with tiny, sharp splinters. I mean, this isn't some vague ache he's talking about. It is a very precise and unusual kind of torment. Okay, so here's the crucial point. There is a direct link here. Arthur suffers from what are called blind piles, or hemorrhoids. They're described as looking like purple groundnuts. They hardly ever bleed, but they ache with this intense pain. And that ache is directly connected to the shooting, lame pain in his back. The two pains are a package deal. When one is bad, you better believe the other one is too. Now that we're in on the central secret, let's zoom out a little bit. This whole theme of fullness and congestion, it isn't just in his head or his back, it is a systemic issue that's affecting his entire body, from his digestion right down to his dreams. This feeling of fullness just cascades through his entire system. His liver region is sore and full, his abdomen throbs. He has this really unique feeling that his tongue has been scalded. His throat is dry and prickly, almost like a crumb is stuck there. And even sleep is no escape, because he wakes up screaming from these horrible dreams. It's a complete, top-to-bottom picture of systemic distress.
You know, it's also worth noting that this pattern isn't just exclusive to men. In women, the same underlying state can show up a little differently. They might feel a throbbing in the lower abdomen or a heavy feeling of uterine prolapse. But the key connection is still there, a feeling that the sacroiliac joints are loose and are just going to give way while walking, forcing them to sit down.
Okay, so we've followed poor Arthur through his daily misery. We've heard his secrets. We've seen how this feeling of fullness just takes over his life. So what's the point of all this? What's the point of this incredibly detailed, almost novel-like account of one man's suffering? What's the code that we're supposed to crack here?
Well, here's the answer. Aching Arthur isn't actually a real person. He is what's known in homeopathy as a remedy picture, a teaching tool. His whole story is a mnemonic device, a narrative that's designed to bundle a super complex set of symptoms into a memorable character portrait.
And this is where it all just clicks into place. Arthur's most vivid descriptions map directly onto what are called keynotes for a specific remedy. That feeling of splinters in my rectum becomes the famous keynote, the little sticks. The back pain that's linked to the hemorrhoids? That's the back pile connection. The scalded tongue, the congestive fullness, and the fact that it all gets worse in winter, these are all absolutely crucial diagnostic clues. So now that we've decoded the picture and we've mapped the story to the clues, it is time to put a name to this entire portrait of pain. We are ready to reveal the identity of the substance that perfectly matches Arthur's story.
And here it is, Aesculus Hippocastanum, or the common horse chestnut. In the world of homeopathy, this incredibly detailed portrait of Arthur, this gloomy, full-blooded person with the back that gives out and that unforgettable sensation of splinters, points directly to this one remedy.
So why go through all this trouble to create a fictional character? It's because stories are powerful. Our brains are wired for them. This whole method is designed to make a very complex and unique set of symptoms completely unforgettable. For a practitioner, remembering the story of aching Arthur is way easier than trying to memorize a dry list of facts. The portrait itself becomes the tool for recognition.
And that leaves us with a really fascinating final thought to chew on. We've just seen how a narrative, a story, can be woven into the very fabric of diagnosis. So the question is this: when a patient's story isn't just background information, but becomes the diagnostic tool itself, how does that shift our perspective on what medicine is and how it can work?